All right, today we're jumping into something super interesting, a tool that lives right at the heart of our modern communication networks. We're talking about SCTPX. It's this really advanced, kind of offensive framework built specifically for the super complex world of telecom security.
So why do we even need a tool like this? Well, to get that, we've got to start with a question. What if I told you that the very thing that powers 5G, 4G, and even stuff you use every day like WebRTC, what if that thing is a huge, massive blind spot for most security systems? Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to dig into.
Okay, here's how we're going to break it down. First up, we'll talk about this so-called silent protocol. Then we'll get into exactly why SCTPX was even built. After that, we'll look under the hood at its hybrid tech core, check out its really clever use of deception, and then wrap things up by looking at the roadmap to 5G. Let's get started.
All right, so let's introduce the main character of this whole story, the silent protocol. You can think of it as the hidden backbone for, well, pretty much all of our modern communication. The crazy thing is, it almost never gets the spotlight.
And that protocol? It's called SCTP, which stands for Stream Control Transmission Protocol. Honestly, it's like the unsung hero of the transport layer. I mean, you've probably heard of TCP and UDP, right? Well, SCTP is right there with them, doing all the heavy lifting, all that critical signaling work for 4G and 5G networks. But here's the catch. Because it's so specialized, a lot of people don't get it, and even worse, it's often not secured very well at all.
And that security gap, that's the whole reason SCTPX exists. The older tools, the legacy stuff, they just weren't built to deal with how uniquely complex this protocol is. And what that does is leave a massive door wide open for all sorts of threats.
Just look at this comparison. It's pretty stark. On one side, you have the old-school legacy scanners. They really struggle. They can't handle the complicated state machines of SCTP. They're super noisy, so firewalls spot them a mile away, and honestly, they just don't understand the protocol very well. But SCTPX? It's the complete opposite. It totally gets the state machines, it's built to be stealthy, and it does this really deep protocol analysis. It's like bringing a specialist to a job that general tools just can't handle.
So how does it pull all this off? Well, first things first, performance. SCTPX is built around a multi-threaded core written in Rust, and if you know anything about Rust, you know it's famous for being incredibly fast and safe. This lets the tool handle literally thousands of connections at the same time, which is absolutely crucial when you're trying to scan these enormous carrier networks.
But you know, raw speed isn't everything. You've got to have flexibility too. And this is where the framework's hybrid design really shines. So you've got that high-performance Rust core, right? But on top of that, it has this super flexible Python API. What that means is security researchers can just jump in and build their own custom scanners, fuzzers, whatever they need in just a few minutes, without having to mess with all the complicated low-level stuff. Okay, next up, stealth. This is a big one. When you're doing a real-world security assessment, you can't just go in making a ton of noise. SCTPX has stealth baked right in. It uses these really advanced techniques like something called a cookie echo scan. Basically, these scans pretend to be part of a normal, legitimate connection handshake, so they just look like regular traffic. This is how the tool flies right under the radar of firewalls and detection systems that are just waiting for some loud, clumsy attack.
And then there's one of its coolest features, something called strategic deception. See, SCTPX isn't just about attacking, it's also about defending. It can actually set up these incredibly realistic honeypots. Think of them as super sophisticated traps that can spot, analyze, and even steer malicious traffic away from your real network.
So, let's zoom in a bit on that hybrid technical core. We've talked about Rust for speed and Python for flexibility, but how do they actually work together? Let's look at the engine under the hood.
The whole thing is this beautiful three-layer system. Down at the very bottom, you've got the Rust core, right? It's handling all the tough, super high-speed work. Then in the middle, that's where the Python modules live. This is where you put all your custom, smart, protocol-specific logic. It's the brains of the operation. And then sitting right on top, there's a modern web dashboard so you can see everything that's going on in real time. It's really the best of all worlds. You get the performance, the flexibility, and it's easy to use.
Okay, let's dive a little deeper into that deception feature, because this is where SCTPX really starts to feel like it's playing chess, while everyone else is still playing checkers. It's all about flipping the script on the attackers. And that's really the whole philosophy, isn't it? The best defense isn't just building a bigger wall. It's about knowing what your opponent is going to do and using their own tactics against them. And that's exactly what a honeypot is designed to do. And get this, SCTPX comes loaded with pre-built honeypot profiles. It can pretend to be all sorts of critical network gear. For example, it can act like a signal transfer point, or STP. That's basically a router for signaling traffic. Or it can mimic a diameter routing agent, the DRA, which is like the central nervous system for an LTE network. It can even pretend to be a home location register, the HLR, which holds all the subscriber info. So when an attacker starts poking around and hits one of these decoys instead of your real system, boom! You know they're there, and you get to see exactly what they're trying to do.
So, SCTPX is obviously super powerful as it is, but in the security world, you can't stand still. You always have to be looking ahead. So let's check out the roadmap and see where this project is going next.
I mean, just look at this timeline. The project is already really mature. They've already knocked out these huge phases: deep analysis of SCTP, SIGTRAN, and even exploring the 5G and LTE core. But the next step is the really big one: full integration with 5G new radio. This just proves they're serious about evolving right along with the very technology they're supposed to be protecting.
And that really brings us to the final big question. 5G is promising this incredible future where everything is connected: our cars, our cities, all of our critical infrastructure. But as that web gets bigger and more complex, you have to ask, who's actually securing the core of it all? Now, tools like SCTPX are a huge part of the answer, for sure, but they also serve as a pretty powerful reminder that in the world of security, the job is never, ever finished.